We typically do our Thursday night show, but we do take one Thursday out of the month. Although we're sort of cheating because we took like a 2 or 3 week hiatus, did a few sessions of our Red Markets campaign, and now we're doing our talk show. But we take one show out of the month where we kind of check in on the state of geek, as I call it, and basically how the coronavirus has mutated, for better lack of a term, our lives when it comes to pop culture. And in some cases has put some of that to a grinding halt. In other cases, it's made very unique ways in which pop culture and certain geeky things are being released or out there. As always, my two faithful companions, Zach and Sean, are here.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
There we are. And as normal, me and Zach will talk a lot, and Sean will nod or infer. No, I'm kidding. Sean,
I am nodding. You just can't see me.
that's right. Sean is the soft-spoken of the group, but we will incorporate it. He has very amazing perspectives when he does contribute, and we value him a lot for that.
He also does carry a big stick.
He does also carry a big stick.
Do I?
Yes.
It's very possible. But yeah, and we have a few things to cover tonight because I would say it's somewhat adequate to say that the wheel of, let's call it pop culture, and the wheel of, a lot of the geeky things that many of us hold dear, whether it's, someone like myself who has a lot of loves in a lot of different directions, or maybe others like Sean who are a little bit more focused in like Star Wars and certain particular camps of things, and definitely movies and TV, and other things of that nature. But I think a lot of us our worlds are coming back online. it's good to say, like, things are coming forward in certain ways, versus just being kind of stagnant. So as always, we try to do a little like icebreaker question or getting into it kind of topic. And this one's pretty interesting, which comes to us from Zach. Zach is our guy for
I make all the questions.
all the icebreaker questions. And that and this particular one is, what? I'm going to screw the question up already. He's going to correct me. I know it.
Dude, it's even written down for you in the Discord.
It's not at all.
Yes, it is. At the bottom.
I don't know how to read.
Okay.
Reading's hard. No, I'm kidding. What fictional food have you wanted to try?
Yeah, just every fantasy series that attempts to be world building, like have a large depth of world building, usually does have random foods that to indicate cultural preferences, or just you're George R. R. Martin and you have an unhealthy relationship with food.
Wow.
That man does have a very unhealthy relationship with many things, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Wow. He went there.
Something. Well, to be fair, he is going there with his obsessive writing and literally locking himself away in a cabin for the past few months.
That's true.
Anyway, something I've always wanted to try is, well, let me phrase it this way. Have any of you heard of the Redwall books?
Yes. I have.
Does not sound familiar.
They are a series of anthropomorphic mice and
Rats.
rodents and stuff like that. The rats are assholes. We go kill them.
Moss Flower is the first book in the series.
Yes.
Starting to ring some bells. Okay.
And almost every book has... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, although it's odd that they call it the Redwall series. I know why they do, but it's the second
because
book.
it's Redwall Abbey.
Yeah.
And Mossflower is the forest.
Right.
But that first book is weird because there are remnants of humans around.
Correct.
Or there are humans around, and it's very weird. Like, you can tell the author didn't fully map everything out until he's like, oh, we're going to keep publishing this.
Well, right.
But...
anyway, and I'm going to go in a rabbit hole now with this whole thing. But yeah, and then he also published a prequel after he wrote it, so it's like the timeline was all like
Yeah.
whacked out and didn't make any sense. But anyway.
I mean, we all know the hairs are the best part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, because he does always include at least one feast scene in every novel.
That is true.
And I actually had to look up the full name of this.
Yeah,
The deeper and ever turnip and tater and beetroot pie.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was trying to think what it would be. Yeah, I remember that now. All right.
Yeah, it's a pie that just sounds utterly delicious and full of starches and everything good, while being large enough apparently for moles to physically go into.
Yes.
And these are not human-sized molds, all proportionate, so it's really cool.
This is true.
Yeah. Go Redwall, go Hares, Salamandron.
Wow. Jesus. I was very surprised when I heard Redwall as the thing. All right, because I'm like, that book, that's a while back.
I mean, he continued publishing until his death, and I want to say last published his book. He died in 2009.
Yeah.
And he kept publishing Redwall books until then.
Yes, he published them through the 90s.
Yeah, Brian Jocks. I want to say there's at least 20 books in the series.
Yeah, there's a lot. I read most of them. I didn't read all of them. I read the main series, the prequel series. I didn't read all of them. But so, all right, Sean, this is your moment. What fictional food? Lay it on us.
Hard to follow such a well thought out answer.
Well, he came up with the question. In all fairness, he came up with the question and was thinking about it all day because we all get the question.
I thought about it like 5 minutes before I posted it because that's when I came up with the question.
And I was trapped in my prison job, so I couldn't read anything. Anyway, so Sean, what is your fictional food of choice?
I don't know. Like, if ever even reading or anything like that, I've never paid too much attention to the description of the foods. I mean,
all right,
you want to go basic, go like lambus bread or something from Lord of the Rings, or just sit in on any of the feasts.
You son of a bitch!
What?
He took the one I was gonna say, so I gotta think of another one. All right. So go ahead, lambus bread. Go. No, give us your rationale. Besides the fact that
besides it's easy.
Right. Besides the fact that you explained, the only food I can remember is lambus bread. Go for it.
Are you rationale?
Well, go. You can say lambus bread.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it's elven bread. It'd just be interesting just to try it, see what it's like. At the same point, I can't imagine something that's, supposed to be just road rations would be all that tasty.
That's true.
Yeah, I ate one bite and now I'm full. Okay.
Oh, I should also say this. When we do these icebreakers in the talk show, anyone that's watching, if you would like to answer the question in the comments or in the chat, please do not be a stranger, and please put your answer of what you would say. And again, I just want to give that question a little bit more breadth. I know that we pretty much stayed on a literary pathway with that question, but this could be anything, from TV, movie, so any fictional food.
Oh yeah, my second choice would be flaming fire flakes from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Right. So you can go anywhere with that. All right, so hold on. See, it's funny because I'm gonna pick another fucking book. I didn't want to pick a book, but I'm gonna do it because it's
that was part of with Zach saying the fire flakes. Now that you say that, oh yeah, that's a thing. I don't pay attention to what.
You're the world building guy.
You are kind of the world building guy. I'm not gonna.
You're the guy who gets anal about world building.
That's more just following your own rules of whatever you've established in your world, not what food you're snacking on.
Dude, it's part of world building. Don't be that bullshit.
Right, no, I'm all for including it, but I'm not going to memorize it.
Here, I'm going to go on another one. I got mine now. A Scooby snack. I actually because people can eat them. It's been established in Scooby Doo that they are for people. Because more than just Shaggy eats them. Because at first when Shaggy just ate them, you thought he was a pothead. He was just eating everything.
Well, he is just a pothead and he eats everything.
It is, but that is true. But it is established that others who don't have the particular brain and challenges that Shaggy has do eat these things. It has been somewhat established they are an overall snack, not a dog treat as they were once, I would say, originally branded in Hanna-Barbera. So Scooby Snack.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Actually, this does remind me, I have been watching a YouTube channel called Benjamin Babish because it makes good food.
Yes.
And he has covered lembas bread or lembas bread?
I think it's lembas bread.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember the spelling.
So he has covered lembas bread in his, I think, part 1 of the Lord of the Rings special he did.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I know people have their own recipes and stuff for it.
And I believe he has also made Flaming Fire Flakes. If anybody wants to go check them out.
Also, Chocolate Frog was gonna be the other one.
Yo,
I thought about that, but
because that shit's got to be terrifying to eat.
That's just
Because think about what you're eating. You're eating an enchanted piece of chocolate that tries to act like a frog. So,
I don't want that shit in me.
So here's the deal. They're eating a live frog. They don't. J.K. Rowling does not spell that out for you completely. But when their ass puts it in their mouth, I'm assuming it struggles. It doesn't go oh gee, I'm in your mouth. I'm going to turn back into an inanimate piece of chocolate. Because nothing in the wizarding world of Harry Potter seems to ever chill. Everything seems to be all fucking crazy.
So I would hope that the spell deactivates when it hits saliva.
They never say that.
They don't say that as true. However, J.K. Rowling is a crazy bitch. So who knows? She's the woman who said that until wizards found toilets from muggles, they would literally just shit on the floor and then teleport it away.
Yep.
Into the shit dimension.
No, not into a shit dimension, just away.
That's where all the shit goes. Earth 57. No, it's, oh my god. What else? Now I'm thinking of more food. Hold on. Fuck, I'm hungry. Shit. What are other food? All right, we can't spend all the time talking about food. This was good. This was a good icebreaker. This was a better icebreaker question than Zach has thrown before. It was well thought out, and it was very good. I like this one.
You're welcome for the 3 minutes I thought I had.
It was good. Oh, actually, I'll throw one in Zach's corner. I know he'll love this one. Budweiser kegs.
Bloodweiser kegs.
Bloodweiser kegs. I would love to know what that tastes like.
I just imagine it's a hearty Budweiser, so it still has that kind of watered down taste.
But doesn't it have to give you life? Because it brings you
back.
Back.
But it would be more I can't remember what it's called at the moment. I want to say ket. The ancient Egyptians used to feed their workers / slaves / menial class this alcoholic oatmeal.
Gotcha.
Both because usually in populated areas, before people figured out irrigation, water equals sewage.
Yes.
And also, it's just easier to drink your meals.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something 100% different than that. That was funny. I'm like, where is this going? I get nervous when Zach starts to quote history. It usually goes in a road that's very dark. You learn a lot, but you feel bad afterwards.
Oh yeah, history is a never-ending cavalcade of awfulness.
And there's Zach.
A lot of big words.
He got a good score at his SATs because he did it right.
I did. Except I bombed math.
So he
math
can't.
Is a bitch.
He can't add real good, but he can talk real good.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I can't. Oh, God. All right, so before we get the festivities started, and we'll talk more about this later, you guys noticed that my YouTube channel is up. If you want to see all the zany and wackiness that we get involved in, and also see a variety of different things from the Twitch channel, that are some previously recorded videos, which will be archived up on that YouTube channel, and eventually, which I was talking earlier before we started filming. I bought a bunch of shelves. I'm really pushing away to the final few steps of the studio, and Zach, Sean, and myself might actually be able to come into my home studio and actually play something in a room together, and film it. Okay. So when we start to do that, we will have other the original programming. Can't speak. On the YouTube channel. Some really cool campaign-based, tabletop games, actual tabletop game reviews and playthroughs. Really cool stuff. We've done it in the past. We've done playing the game Villainous, but I have more expansions of that. Funkoverse game, which we haven't even played yet, although I did while my wife and I were quarantined. I taught her how to play some board games, which was pretty funny to watch.
Funny, do the nerd thing.
It was
Why?
pretty.
We're stuck together. Do the nerd thing.
It was really funny to watch her play with Harry Potter or Funkoverse pieces and try to beat me up, and she did a really good job. She actually kicked my ass a couple times. And just playing some of the games. But yes, so we're gonna get back into that, and I have a lot of other games coming, and some really cool stuff on the horizon. And we're going to talk about some of those today. But yeah, so check out the YouTube channel. Please be a subscriber. Check out the videos. Like them, share them. I'm just starting on YouTube. Been on Twitch for a while. Obviously follow the Twitch channel too, because there'll be content on both. Not always a repeat. All right. With that being said, we're going to jump into our first topic. And it's very much a segue, a good thing. We're going to talk about our favorite company in the world. Zach, please hold back your rage. Games Workshop. He really is trying to hold it back. I can see it. Zach, you're not dead, right? Zach, you're all right. Okay. So, oh my God. So Games Workshop. I wanted to talk to them because if you are big in the tabletop world of gaming, specifically into the big world of some box games, but also
you literally cannot escape them.
I was gonna say army-based games. They 100% started dropping quite a lot of stuff, and I have to say they have consistently dropped a lot of product. So what I said before, that the world is starting to open up, I feel like GW
it's kind of just them.
Well, GW just dumped about. No, I mean I'm going to talk about Mantic Games as well, which Mantic, I always thank them because they've sent me a bunch of stuff. I'm still in the process of getting videos up of all the stuff they've sent me, which I love. I've been painting the Hellboy pieces, so if you want to check out that series, you can definitely do that, which is a game that we will all play together when I'm done painting them, which I will hopefully be soon, but they got really intricate because I want them to be awesome because it's Hellboy and I love Hellboy. But anyway, but even Mantic Games, they're revving it up. They're releasing quite a lot of stuff. What I will say about Mantic Games, which I do like in the sense that I'm less concerned. They're revving it up, but they're revving it up in a lot of the game mechanics, rules, tweaking things. So a lot of it's supplements and other stuff. And they are going to be doing some new models, and a lot of it's refresh models too, to really put their models in a different category and class, and give you more options of utility as a player.
And not having bulimic elves, hopefully.
Well, right. So
because that was their style for a long time.
Right. So that's one thing. But now on GW's side, see, they're sort of throwing it all out at once. So it's like a mixture of a lot of new stuff. It's a lot of rules changes. I mean, essentially, they're changing the rules of almost every one of their games. You know, they changed Age of Sigmar slightly with the General's Handbook that came out.
Mhm.
They radically changed Warhammer
Not-
40K.
Yep, ninth edition.
So they radically changed that. And now Blood Bowl is going to get the same
Mhm.
treatment as part of their box games, where they're going to be dramatically changing. When I say dramatic, it's a dramatic rules change. It's not
I
a little
have
bit.
words and shouts about that.
Go for it.
Oh, I didn't know if you want to continue before
No,
I
yeah,
started that.
yeah. I mean, that's the intro, and then of course they're coming out with new pieces. You know, so they're really tweaking a lot of stuff now. Necromunda, which we're going to talk a little bit about that box game as well. That's more additional. They didn't really tweak the rules, although
Mhm.
I think they are coming out with another supplement to rewrite parts of it. But it's not.
Yeah, but if I
It's not big.
understand Necromunda supplements, essentially every new supplement overrides some of the past rules, especially if they're all faction based.
Well, right. So you get a little bit of overlay, but really each supplement is really a faction book because they
Yeah.
introduce new factions to the game. And
Uh,
that's why there's superseded rule changes, because the factions will get abilities and they have to errata some of the other abilities and change things because it's overpowered and crazy. But anyway,
Sean, what do you think about that process?
I just feel very confused right now. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
and then just to embody, even though we're talking about Games Workshop, one last thing I'll throw in there is Marvel Crisis Protocol, which I'm more excited in that realm. They introduced the X-Men, so the shit's on. Like, I'm ready.
Wait, what type of X-Men?
Oh, it's like classic. It's Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Storm.
Like, when you say classic, do you mean?
No,
I mean, what iteration? I guess.
Yeah, it's 90s.
Like,
it's
okay, 90s X-Men.
Yeah, it's the X-Men that you would know from the X-Men animated series.
Okay.
Or it's 90s X-Men. It's that style. It's not OG X-Men, which is the first X-Men, which is Beast, Angel. But the idea is that those pieces are out. So now we have Mystique they released as well. Like they have a lot of. So again, I love it because they're adding more. And you guys saw me do the Thanos paint. Thanos, which we are going to 100% play that. But Thanos opens up a whole nother dimension to Marvel Crisis Protocol. So, meaning, going back to Mantic and Atomic Mass games, I like those additions. I like when games are doing that because they're, you know, to say what Sean likes, they're really fleshing out more of their world and system with more additional things to help them. Now let's talk about Games Workshop. So, what do you want to tackle first? It says like Blood Bowl, we're going first, and that's fine.
Yep.
Right, let's do Blood Bowl.
John knows this. Sean, I don't think cares about this, but
oh, but Sean will, because Sean, you're gonna try Blood Bowl, because out of all the things that we talked about,
Blood Bowl before.
He has kind of tried it, yeah.
I think you would like Blood Bowl. Out of all the things we talk about, I think Blood Bowl is like an in for you.
So, okay, so here's the thing. Blood Bowl, the new edition, it's radically changing the rules. However, I think they're changing them possibly for some part of the better. In that they're simplifying them, but simplifying them in a way that still keeps dynamic fuckery, which everybody knows is Blood Bowl. Like, that's just Blood Bowl.
Yeah, I guess my concern, well, and I'll be honest, I haven't actually read the full rule changes yet, but I know like one thing that they've alluded to is there was almost like a, what was it? Like you don't have to do dodging anymore, or like there are certain things that were very mechanical, which I guess is where Zach was coming up with the simplifying part. So there were times in Blood Bowl where you were rolling like 17,000 times to do an action that was like you moving 4 squares.
Because you would be going in out people's tackle zones and they're trying to kill you.
Right. So there was always this like psychotic, crazy, like, I was playing a game with a buddy of ours that we know, Teddy, and I played a team specifically, and because of the abilities that Teddy's guys had and the abilities that my guys had, it took us an hour to roll all our dice.
Jeez.
Like, it was insane, and we just kept rolling. Like,
Because you two just kept bashing each other's heads in.
and you would hit somebody, and then it would cause something else to happen, and then this would happen, and nobody could catch the goddamn ball, so everybody had to roll 15. Like, it was nuts. So that's what we mean by simplifying the rules. So there's a lot of mechanical rules in Blood Bowl where you'd have to do all these, like, you do an action, you roll, then there's a reaction to it sometimes. You got to do reaction rolls, then there's more rolls because another person, now more people got involved because of what happened with that action. So there's a lot. It can get very complicated, and it can get very bogged down. Even though it's a very simplified dice system because you're rolling usually the same dice.
It's basically, am I stronger than that guy? Cool, I roll this many. Am I weaker? Cool, I roll this many.
But it can be very confusing and muddled in that way. So I'm with Zach in the regard that simplifying that part is great.
One thing I'm not a fan of is that passing is now its own stat. It's completely divorced from agility.
And there we go.
And
that's where I'm coming with you, because I don't like that.
Elf teams suck at passing now,
which makes absolutely no sense.
Yes, so very traditional, because all the elves super high agility. They're all tricksy elfy bullshit. Awesome. Everybody knows that. They like it. They're one of the few teams collectively, all the elf teams can play a passing game because tricksy elfy bullshit.
Right.
High agility. Now they have made it so elves can probably not really pass. Passing is now a 2-up for throwers, and it's a 4-up for everybody else on the team.
Which is crazy.
And it's very easy to pick up minuses.
Well, right, and now this is where they simplified all these other rules, but they've introduced, and this is the part I don't like, they've now introduced a rule that made something that was really simple more complicated.
And they also split up safe throw into 2 different skills.
Right.
Safe throw was literally, if you were gonna throw an interception, roll a die. If you don't roll a 1, you're good.
Right. And then that alleviates, so like, and to Zach's point, it makes absolutely no sense that elves would be bad at passing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I haven't read all of it, so maybe Zach can fill this in. I don't know what team is good at passing now, but I'm gonna guess it's like halflings, it's shorter, tiny little fucker characters. It's probably trying to give them the advantage.
Kind of. I mean, Stunty doesn't interfere with passing anymore.
Well, right, but that's so there you go. That's an advantage already.
So Stunty was a rule where if you were a short little asshole and your short little asshole almost touched the ground, because you are a short little asshole,
this is true,
you would have arm strength to throw the ball good because you're a short little asshole with stubby arms.
Right.
So you would have penalties through throwing, not the catching, because it's easy to put your hands together, but through throwing the ball.
Right.
But now you have a bunch of little assholes running around, all who can all throw the ball on the same stat, which I believe halflings are either a consistent 4-up or 5-up, but some of them have access to passing abilities.
Right. Well, that's what I think the point of it was. See, I think that's what they were. I think the point of the passing skill was that it was to take the joke teams, or not the joke teams, but just
low tier
teams that, and now gave them an ability to do that. Because, thinking about the teams that you have available to you, like Skaven have always been good at dodging, which they still are, but now, teams like halflings, teams like, and we're going to talk about this team right now, because of course one of the big new things that they are releasing, which I think is a big part of the rules change, is the Crude Creek Nose Pickers.
Just say snotlings. They're fucking snotlings.
I'm giving them their proper title, damn it.
They're literally a thing named after snot.
Right, they're snotlings.
What?
So
Yes.
all right. So let's just qualify one thing about GW. So, kind of crazy, but if you don't know this book, it's called The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Never heard of it.
Right. So you don't know those books or know yeah, I can't. You don't know who Tolkien is. You're probably I don't even know why you're watching us. But the idea is that he it's kind of crazy, but the term goblin and the term ogre and the term orc
Are copyrightable.
are copyrightable. I didn't think they were, but they are.
Yep.
Wait, what are they?
Yeah.
They are. Well, they are and they aren't. So let me explain what we mean by
It's
that.
weird.
They are.
because
They
it's
are
super weird.
Yeah, they are when you use them in the context of how they're using them.
Which is a fantasy setting.
Correct. And so a long, long time ago in a far off land, when they made all this stuff,
In the 80s when they didn't care.
in the 80s when they didn't care, they didn't want to get sued by Tolkien, so they had to come up with alternative names for things, which is why ogre is spelt wrong.
Why everything is essentially spelt wrong.
Right. So everything's spelt wrong, but you say it the same way.
And
goblins are not called goblins; they're called gits.
Yep.
And snotlings are goblins. They're just run-to-your goblins, really.
They're the goblins that ogres have picked up and essentially subjugated for millennia.
Right.
Because they're small little snotlings.
But again, when you say ogars, because that's how you have to say it in GW to not get copyright infringement. But anyway.
Then it got really weird because GW, when the Peter Jackson films came out, also got the license for the Lord of the Rings tabletop war game.
Which totally doesn't make any sense. So the idea is that's why they have all these wacky like side names. So things in the whether you're talking about Warhammer Fantasy or Age of Sigmar, that's why they make that up. And then last but not least, and that's why that's why there are things that are named the right way. Like you can't copyright undead. Can't copyright that. Or vampires, which is why they are the right names.
Oh, or Tomb Kings. You could not copyright Arthurian Bretonnians or Egyptian Tomb Kings. Yep. Which is why when they went to the next edition of, the new version of Fantasy, they got rid of them because they couldn't copyright them.
Correct.
Well, I'm confused though. Like, I'm pretty sure.
No, you can.
It's weird. It basically, the reason they started using.
Let me explain.
Name. Oh, okay.
Sorry. Let me explain orc really quick. The reason why they use orc is because Tolkien didn't call them that.
It depends on which one. The Hobbit, they were called goblins, but they're orcs, and orc is supposed to be like the quote-unquote elvish version, but it's also
right. But it's not. But it's a little bit muddier because they would call them Uruk-hai and they would call them other names. So it's a little
right. So like something like Uruk-hai, that's a Tolkien creation that I can understand you not being able to use, but orc, I'm pretty sure, is something that was in like the general lexicon.
Well, no, that's why but orc they do use. They do call them orcs.
But I thought you just said that. Okay, I'm confused now.
No, there are some factions which they can use, and there's some factions they can't.
It's very, very weird.
I mean, like, I get that, yeah, some things, at least in the Tolkien verse, you can't use. That's why everything outside of Lord of the Rings is a halfling instead of a hobbit. I know that, but orc thing just confused me.
Well, I think they did it out of fear, to be quite honest with you. I don't think they actually did it out of, like, real...
Okay. Yeah, once they realized they can be sued for stuff.
Yeah.
Such as the Terminator. I mean, James Cameron could have sued the shit out of them.
Oh, for Necrons,
in the beginning, for Necrons.
Yeah.
Where literally one of their special rules was, "I'll be back."
Well, it's everything, even because they were riffing off of what was at the time, but the idea too is, while we're on that subject, they also did it to copyright it. That was the other reason. So they did.
Sure.
They called them gits and they called them snotlings and they called them all that shit because they wanted to copyright those things and make it their own IP.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even though it didn't. So, but I just like to explain that to people because I think when you get into like these games, you don't know what the hell is going on. Like you have no clue what the hell. Like you go, okay, cool. You guys got orcs. You guys got dwarves. What the fuck is a snotling? Like what?
Yes.
What is that? And then nobody knows what that is.
It's a runty little goblin that they couldn't call goblins because copyright bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know why goblin was the sticking
Goblin
point.
shouldn't. Yeah,
I don't
that
know
still
why.
confuses me.
I don't know why
You know
it
what?
was. I don't
Just
know why.
we should go ask their lawyers. They're multi-million-dollar lawyers and ask us to explain.
John, your explanation of just like they wanted to be able to copyright their own.
I think it's more they
That
wanted to be able to copyright it, but I know there's a story that I heard or something where I'm pretty sure when they released their first set, I do think the Tolkien people maybe it's that they tried to sue them, but it didn't work. I don't know.
Ah, shucks, that dastardly didn't work suing.
Well, because I remember in fantasy they used to call it orcs and goblins. They were called
Yep.
goblins. In fantasy they called them goblins. But then when they went
Yes.
to Age of Sigmar, they decided
That's also because they then had the freaking copyright at that point for goblins. So they're like, we can't call two things our company the same thing.
I don't know. It's really weird. But anyway, all right, we
It
talked
is
a lot.
so stupid.
We talked a lot about this. But anyway.
Anyway, Snotlings came out. They have a huge box. I think they have 20-something models.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now. So normally a Blood Bowl team is
12.
usually it's usually 12 folks.
It's 12 folks who are all infantry linemen, essentially.
Right. But also, I was going to say the box normally comes in at $35. Although now they raised them all to $37 because GW is just a really nice company that worries about the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fucking jackasses. It's like
Thank you. He did it. He came to the dark side of verbalizing it.
It's $2. Like you had to raise stuff by $2 for what reason?
Yes. The best part about when they did that, it was the document and PDF they released about the price changes. Whether they were talking about stuff they haven't changed in decades, the prices of. And it's like, oh, you only started releasing new Blood Bowl stuff like 2 years ago.
Right. Because Blood Bowl got no love until now. But so you do get a lot of folks in the box. You get let's see, you get a ton of guys.
Are you gonna say the names?
No, I don't know what they are. I'm gonna look now, but I'm very invested in this team because I like teams in Blood Bowl that are stupid, and this team is very stupid.
So Sean, when we were talking about lower tier teams earlier, the rules of Blood Bowl are inherently unfair for some teams.
Yes.
And that's the point. Everybody knows they're shitty.
So people just like challenge themselves if can I use this shitty team?
Yes.
Well, no, hold on. So there are people that like to use crappy teams. I might be one of them, and that's not true because I don't use crappy teams. I have good ones.
But you do like crappy teams.
I do, but but Zach has played me, and Teddy has played me, and you've in some cases regretted those words. Because
I never said ogres were a bad team.
No, ogres are a good team.
Yes, but, I never said ogres were a bad team.
But I played other people like with halflings, which questionably sometimes people throw a little shade on the halfling team.
They got a big boost recently.
They did, but I'm saying if you know how to play them and you know how to play Blood Bowl well, you can take
monsters.
You can take the team and do some other crazy stuff to it, and then also. There's a couple of other inherent things, which I'm going to talk about one of them. So one of the reasons they give you a ton of them in the box is I know exactly why already. Is that the Snotlings probably have the same ability that they do on the Ogre team, which is called Dispensable.
They do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Which Dispensable means something amazing. And I don't know how it plays in this team, because if it plays the way it does in the ogre team, that means your friggin' team will count as nothing.
Yeah, it's insane.
So the way dispensable works is that dispensable is when you
expendable. That's
it.
it.
Is it expendable? I said it wrong. I thought it was disposable. It's not.
No. Oh wait. No, it's disposable. That's it. It's our combination of the two.
Okay. I knew I said it wrong, but I think it's disposable. So in Blood Bowl, what happens is when you sit down and play with your opponent, you're gonna say my team's value. So you pay a value. It's like any other building of a team or an army or any game where you build a force. You're gonna each character on your team has a cost. In this case, it's gold. Everybody's got a cost of gold, and you can think of that because we're playing football. It's like a player. Like a player has a salary. It's how much a player costs to be on your team. So you add up and you say my team is worth this much, and then your opponent says my team is worth this much. Now, if those numbers are uneven, meaning if you have a team that's more value than your opponent gets money given to him to then just buy a bunch of crap. It's called endorsements or extra things.
Yeah,
or
inducements.
I didn't say endorsements. Inducements.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're drafting in baseball.
Yeah.
And you see, or in any sports team really, and the teams that haven't been doing well get the better picks.
Right. Right.
It's essentially saying you suck. Here's some money, and you can buy some cheaty stuff so you don't suck as much.
Right, and the emphasis is on the cheating. So, because it's Blood Bowl, it's a lot of cheating. So you can do
everybody cheats.
So you can do everything under the sun from, as I've done, buy a wizard that throws fireballs on the field and just starts hitting the other team. You can buy different members of your sideline or coaching that'll give you better booster things. You can do a lot of different stuff, but
you can buy beer that revives people,
right? Or you could also buy star players. So what you do is you get this super duper awesome character. So for instance, going back to this particular trait that we were talking about, when I play my ogre team, half the team is made up of these little bastards. So when I come to any party, I always have a team that's lower value.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what that ability means. It means that when you, for the purposes of building your team,
for getting money during games,
your snotlings do not count towards your team's value. So literally, when I show up, I only add up my ogres and say, and any other things that I might have bought, because you can also buy a coach, an assistant coach, other things for your team.
You can buy cheerleaders and shit like that.
Cheerleaders, things like that. But I basically just add all that up. So I never am going to come in greater than anyone I play, especially when we play in a league, because we all started with the same amount of money. So I could basically, I'll show up to the party and be like, oh, you've just given me 300,000 gold because all these little bastards didn't count. Oh, you know what I'm going to buy? A giant star player that can decimate a team because he's got a bunch of different abilities. He's got different rules and regulations for him, and I just start wreaking havoc. So part of why I like specifically playing teams like this is they've thrown in mechanics like that. And this goes back to what I think we were talking about earlier, which is they've been doing a lot of this lately, I think, to make those low-tier teams have more of a chance and be more level playing teams.
So I will say is it expendable?
Disposable.
No. Disposable, yes, a disposable rule is a new addition to the rule set. And it's very new. Less than a year old, and you can already see how in league play it hurts people.
Oh,
and it helps people.
It 100%. 100%.
Usually a team, the different values of teams aren't so great. So it's I bought some beer kegs that help my guys out a little bit.
Right.
That's what people usually buy instead of splurging on I don't know, multiple star players every game. But
I don't know what you're talking about, Zach.
This rule says, fuck you. I have a wad of cash that I'm going to rip out of my pocket and smack you in the face a few times.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so wonderful. I love every moment of it. my favorite, and this isn't even with disposable, but last story that we're going to talk more about the team. But I played by a dead team, and it just so happened that I was really bad in the league. So I showed up.
Yep.
The person's team was so much higher than mine that I'm like, I'm just gonna get. Don't worry. What can I buy? Oh, I'll buy some extra rerolls. I'll buy this. Oh, I'll buy this count. I bought a fucking.
Oh, the count.
I bought the count. I bought a fucking vampire.
Yes, he's not a vampire. He's a vampire with none of the weaknesses of any vampire
Correct.
who can hit like an ogre.
Correct. So what I would do.
sounds cool.
Well, right. So what I would do. He has an ability called hypnosis. I would
Yep.
I would hypnotize the guy next. So I'd have two guys. Like one, I remember because I played Zach, and he's like, and he sees me just move him up into like three people, and he's like, and at first he was like, that's probably a bad move, and then I hypnotize one guy. He's null and void. He's out. And then the guy's got such a high strength that he can still hit the other guy with enough dice to just wreck him. And it was crazy. And that was all through the money I got from a match. So the reason why, so that's what makes me intrigued about this team, because if they all have disposable, it's going to be interesting. I can't imagine they all have disposable. It's probably the ones that are by themselves, because the other thing that's amazing about this team is there's fucking war machines. Like, there's 3 of them on this giant roller. They got rocks with eyes on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of them's riding a boulder that's smiling. Like,
They're the guys who are on. Yeah, when you say war machines, it's literally like war wagons that they're running around on there. Look like they're gonna fall apart in a second.
yeah, I have no clue. I cannot wait to rip this box open and find out. Then you got ones with mushrooms, and if the mushrooms are anything like when you play Age of Sigmar, basically the mushrooms are drugs. So
Yep.
if they eat the mushrooms, maybe they hallucinate and start like beating the shit out of people and get more I don't know what happens, but I can only imagine that these people get some amazingly crazy rules.
It is gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super nuts. And of course, the thing that I have not seen yet is I'm very intrigued to know what their star players are like.
I'm gonna say most likely it's gonna be the same as the Goblin and Halfling star players.
But they have to have some unique ones. Like they have to have like that one. I just found one. Ripper Bolgrot. The Thinking Man's Troll. Holy shit.
I don't like that.
He has an armor value of 9. Let's just start there, because that's always fair.
So what that means is, at least in this edition of the game, before they change everything in the new rules, you have to roll above the person's armor value.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's insane. His movement's 4, his strength is 6. His agility is 1. So he is not doing anything with the ball. He is just beating the living shit out of people. And guess what he does?
Is what you want.
And guess what? Guess one thing he doesn't have, Zach? What does every troll normally have?
Oh no, he's not stupid.
He doesn't have stupidity. So stupidity is a mechanic in the game where you roll a die, a d6 on a 1 or a 2. He will be stupid for the turn and cannot do anything. Which is
it's amazing when, such as John's ogre team,
Bonehead,
all of his ogres have Bonehead, which is another version of stupid.
It's so fucking
and there
weird.
are times when all of his ogres roll 1s in a row in order to move.
Yeah.
And then they just stand there and stare at butterflies.
Yeah, it's yeah. So this goes back to what we were saying, and a lot of teams have mechanics like this. So it's not, and like the vampires we were talking about earlier, they have a thing called hunger. If they have that, it's same concept.
Well, that is
or bloodlust, but
yeah. So the reason the count is really awesome
he
is
doesn't
because
have that.
And what that rule is, if you roll like a 1 when you start to move, you have to go snack on one of your other fellow teammates who isn't a vampire.
Yep.
And if you can't,
you can't just snack on the closest.
No,
it has to be your teammate. and if you can't, you run off the field to go snack on someone in the crowd.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
crazy.
awesome.
All right, let's see here. Fungus flinga. That's how you say that. So, what of the that's their ball. I'm saying that it's a smiling rock. Their fucking ball is a live rock. Oh my god. So what does he got? What is Bombardier? What is that?
Oh, Bombarder?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when essentially this
that.
comes up in a couple rule sets, mostly goblins.
I don't remember
It's
that.
when you throw no, they can throw bombs.
Oh, he's got a bomb. Oh yeah, because he's got a secret weapon too, which means he can get ejected.
Yeah. So essentially, your guy is just throwing bombs at people instead of balls.
That's crazy. He's got an agility of 5. This is one of their units. This is like one of their regular like team people you put on the team. So funny enough, does not have disposable. So like I said, and that makes sense. I couldn't imagine them all have disposable, because that would be way unfair.
So this also brings up something that I get mad at. So the normal goblin team has a bunch of positional players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only way to play them because goblins suck ass.
Oh yeah, well you need the star.
In the worst way possible. Not even star players, just positionals. Like the pogoer, who is a guy on a pogo stick.
Yeah.
And he goes and stomps on people's brains.
Well, that was always the problem with the goblin team, and it's a problem on this side of the purchasing, because the way it used to be rigged with the goblin team is that they would sell you a generic box of goblins, and then you'd have to go to Forge World to buy the units you actually needed to play the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so that team turned into a $100 team, whereas everybody
more than 100,
more. But it would and then everybody else could just go spend $35 and get
a team,
a functional team. You don't have any specialty stuff, but it's functional.
It's functional, and to be honest, most of the specialty stuff. I mean, most teams don't really have specialty stuff. They just might have like one or two more positional players.
Right.
So the goblin team. So in this box, you're getting everything you need for Snotlings to play. The goblin team, you need to spend over $100 in order to, play the game.
Yeah. It's crazy. But it's $42 for the box. I would say, like, from a standpoint of what they give you in the box,
it's a lot.
It is a lot. Like, the value statement here, so again, going back to what I said, the reason why I was so mad about the $2 is that they raised other things $2, but then they make a box like this for $42, and the only reason they're charging $42 is because they don't think a lot of people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
That is the reality of that decision. But I think more people are going to buy it, because it's also the other thing about these particular models, because of the way that they're done, it's also unique in the way they did it, because it's very much not a Blood Bowl model kit, if that makes sense to what I'm saying. If you look at any of these models, it doesn't look like Blood Bowl.
Oh yeah, they look like they look like the Gits.
Yeah, so you could sub these in for a lot of other uses. So I think this is going to be another GW misstep. Because they always fucking do this. They're going to make very little of these and watch. It's going to be just like Warcry. They were like, oh, we're going to make cards that make models you already bought able to play another game. We won't make them any of the cards. No, they're not going to sell.
Yeah, we'll make 5 packs. Why do 5,000 people want? Well, we're never printing them again. eBay, go nuts.
Or the other side to it, the units we specifically put on the card that you can use for that game, we won't make any extras of those.
Yep, because why would you want them? So,
but anyway.
Yeah, I have one more thing to bitch about Blood Bowl, and then I'm done.
And then we'll talk about Necromunda really quick. But go ahead, bitch about Blood Bowl. I put up the Necromunda stuff already. We'll do that.
So, the new book that is coming out at the end of the year for Blood Bowl 2020.
Is it the Almanac?
No, it's the new rule set with the new box set.
Oh, the box, yeah. Which I think the Orc models look really cool. But anyway, go ahead.
They're cool, yeah. But they took away teams that didn't need to be taken away because they were functioning and they were good. Not like good as in overpowered. I just mean like they've been there since the start of the game. One of the things I am pissed about is they took away my team.
How is it
the team I've been playing since I started playing Blood Bowl and fell in love with the game, which are fucking high elves. Yeah. They took away the high elves. They're not in the book. We figured out what's in the book already, people. And they took away the high elf team. I don't know why. I don't know why, and it pisses me off. I'm like, this is what happens when your army gets squatted.
It's true.
They take away the thing I love and put time and effort into and watched grow and pissed on it.
They touched him.
I don't know why.
They touched him in an inappropriate place. That's what just happened.
They did.
That's what he just
They
described.
touched me bad, Daddy.
Oh, okay. Just all right. Whoa. All right.
And they took away the thing I like.
Oh boy.
And I don't know why.
It's because they don't love you. That's why.
I know they don't. I criticize them too often. This is a personal attack.
This is why I buy a lot of teams, by the way.
So, if one of them gets killed, the others can go on.
Yeah, because it don't matter how popular your team is either. Doesn't matter. Like Tomb Kings that was forementioned a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. You know how many people want that back?
Oh, so many. That's actually one of the major selling points of the Old World project that they're doing.
Well, right.
Because Cetra is featured on that, on the poster for it.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't see that.
That's Cetra on the poster, standing underneath a blazing sun, being pissed off that he doesn't rule it.
Yeah, so they probably will. They probably will bring them back. But that's the. Like my point is, it doesn't matter. So that's why. Buy your models with confidence. Just buy the teams you like. I have so many teams. How many teams do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have like 10 teams.
Yeah, you might have a problem.
No, I don't. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, sir. I don't know what I'm gonna say anymore. All right, so anyway, we're gonna move on to Necromunda, but yes, big deal with Blood Bowl, and as much as we have our difference of opinions, which this time, me and Zach, I think, are pretty aligned, which is in this,
which is one. Fuck GW.
Well, for that, I only say that for that game because I used to praise that game as their most affordable avenue. And
it was crazy. It still probably is the most affordable game.
It is. But yeah, so now we'll jump into Necromunda. Now Necromunda, so if Blood Bowl was the lost child.
Necromunda is the stepchild they kept underneath the stairs.
Yeah.
From the seminal Wes Craven movie. They live underneath the stairs. What is that?
It's called They Live Under the Stairs.
Yeah, They Live Under the Stairs. That seminal, awesome anti-Reagan movie.
That's what the movie. Yes. Necromunda. Nobody knows this game exists.
They fucked up so much with that game.
Nobody knows. Now, why am I talking about Necromunda? Well, I'm talking about it because they're releasing new stuff. But the models look good. Right, and the models do look good.
So expensive.
Right. Now let's talk about that. Because of course, let's talk about the model kit I wanted. Because fuck me, right? Because
yes.
The model that I wanted, and again, Sean, get ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's another way to say ogre.
Oh boy.
But we're just not going to say it the same way. Slave Ogren Gang.
Ogren. There we go.
For the folks at home, they're fucking ogres.
The reasoning these things exist is A, it's GW and they like ogres, and B, they're subhuman. There's a subhuman species because humans went to high gravity planets and got stupid and big.
AKA ogres. They're fucking ogres in space.
Yep.
Look at the close-up of this son of a bitch.
You might want to send that to Sean in the Discord so he can see the son of a bitch.
It's this thing. This thing is an ogre, folks. It's got a big giant nose. It's got big giant pointy teeth. Of course I can't. I don't think
He looks stupid.
He looks stupid. I don't think I can pull. Oh, did they make it so I can't? Oh, okay, hold on. Let's see here. Copy image.
But yes, this is a subspecies character thing that is in Warhammer. Yeah, Sean, if you see that, what is that?
I mean, I know you want me to just say it's an ogre.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that for me, but what is it?
It's an ogre.
Thank you.
It's a damn ogre. That's what it is. So, it's ogres in space, but why is Necromunda a cool game? Well, Necromunda is a cool game. See, now you tell me, what do those look like? They look like more fucking ogres. So the point is, the cool part about Necromunda, or what I always found to be the cool part about Necromunda, is it's more about the actual campaign play of Necromunda. So, what I think, the game itself, it's a lot, it's fun. It's a small, basically small squad based game.
It feels very 7th edition though.
Yes. Well, because they haven't really updated the rule set. Yeah, they haven't updated the rule set in a while. But,
yeah.
But okay.
For Sean, because he doesn't know this game at all.
Yes.
It's essentially you play as like the lowest of the low subclass in a sprawling giant hive city in a shit planet.
Yep.
And you live in the basement of the shit planet. And everything sucks.
Made out of shit, or it's just a shitty planet?
Yes.
Okay.
And you basically are fighting literally every other living being in the world, well, in your subsection of the shit world, for resources, because the people above don't give a literal shit about you.
Correct. So
you have to form gangs and kill each other for resources.
Well, so a lot of it, we've played RPGs like this, where we're basically, actually, Red Markets is essentially that idea, but we're just not an underhive of shit. We're just in a society of crap. But it's forming a gang. It's forming you're a gang, and you're looting and you're killing people and not trusting anybody. But what I always found with Necromunda to be really cool is that, of course, so similar to Blood Bowl, it used to be affordable.
In the day,
when you could buy again a gang, and you'd have your gang box, and that's it. Because again, to play Necromunda, like this gang of slave Ogren gang, or fuck, can't say the names anymore. Like this is all you would need to play. You'd buy this box, and that would be it. That'd be your gang. But what's really cool about this game too is the campaign play, where you can create scenarios and playthroughs, and then similar to Blood Bowl, when you do season play, your gang will actually get better.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole that's what I love about these box games that GW does, is that there's a lot of RPG elements. So if you're somebody who loves tabletop RPGs, you can get into these games very easily and very quickly.
It's very sprawling. Like you can have what they call Jews, who are juveniles.
Juvie gang members.
Yep. Yeah, juvie gang members.
Something totally different than Jews.
I was not saying Jews.
That's why that's why I quickly said something.
Yes. So yes, you basically can start out as like 13-year-olds, hanger-ons of the gangs, and as time goes on, you become full-fledged murderers.
Right. But
because social commentary in the 80s, people.
Mm-hmm.
And it really promoted. It's another game like Blood Bowl that promoted like model bashing and other stuff. So like you could do custom gangs. Like I saw one person, which is pretty cool. It's actually Mini Wargaming. They did a custom campaign, and the guy made everybody from Dragon Ball Z. So it was actually the characters from Dragon Ball Super, and he actually did custom mods to make different characters from it. It was kind of funny. But anyway, it's very cool. You can do that. It's a great way to play with a bunch of people in a more interesting and cool way. But yeah, so we have this new gang And then we have a redo. Actually, no, they're both new gangs. No, House of Blades was an old gang.
Yeah, it's Gang Escher.
Is it Gang Escher?
Yeah, it's the Escher gangs.
Oh, Escher Death Maidens. Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah.
So those got redone, which those are pretty cool because I like the addition of these fucking
creepy zombie chicks.
Well, right. So we got zombie chicks now, and we got these other like really fucked up looking dogs. Hold on, let me get this.
Yo, the dog things.
Dogfish.
Yeah. Essentially, Escher gangs are like crazy girl thrill kill gangs who deal in poisons.
Yep, they poison all their weapons.
Everybody is really fucked up because they're either high or they're mutating or poisoned.
Yeah.
So you have those weird dog chameleon fish things.
Yeah. They look like scary evolutions in Pokemon.
Yo, I would take that.
Yeah, it does. You're right. It does look like an evolution. I'm totally with you.
That's awesome. I did not notice that. Sean, good job.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's really I think the majority of GW stuff.
So can I rant about something real quick?
Just go for it.
It's about Necromunda, so it's on topic.
I said yes.
Necromunda, now it frames itself essentially as the most affordable GW game to play.
That's kind of sad.
Which is very sad. However, it originally had a super secret cost to it, which was, in order to play the game, you had to buy the core $250 box set because that was the only way to get the rulebook.
Correct.
They didn't print the rulebook until a couple months ago, separately.
Yeah, that was kind of a dick move on their part. Yeah.
So if you ever lost the rulebook, you had to then buy another $250 core set.
Yeah, it was really bad. It really was a dick move.
It's such a dick move.
It really was.
So, fuck you, GW, for putting out this game. I want to say they put it out about 3 years ago, and only a few months ago printed the core rulebook separately.
Yeah, it was. Well, on that, one thing that Necromunda did have a downfall in general with was the books, because the book, like when it came to other games, the books were, like we're talking about Warhammer, or we're talking about Age of Sigmar or whatever. It was always you buy a box set, split it with your friends. You usually had the core rulebook in the box set, and then you just buy your factions book, and that was really all you needed. And then usually if anything else was extra after that, it would be a supplement. You'd also like chapter approved when they do a rule change, so you have the price for your army and things. Like it was those kinds of things. The General's Handbook for Age of Sigmar. But yeah, Necromunda, that's where Necromunda got you, was that like the books, because you literally needed actually some of the faction books to get basic rules for some of your actual things. So it was a little bit of a cheap game. But anyway, those are the big major new things from GW. I am excited overall about the Blood Bowl stuff. Little other notes, they did do a couple of little expansions to Beastgrave, which is their card game /
Beastgrave is an expansion of Underworlds.
Yeah.
Which is their quote-unquote, well, not even quote-unquote, it's their hybrid game of minis and cards.
Yeah.
It's very weird. I personally was like...
building game.
Say that again?
Isn't it like it's a card deck building game with minis?
Yeah, it's a deck building game that you use cards for actions in order to get points, but you have to move your miniatures on boards and then they fight each other, and it's interesting. I applaud them for the innovation of it.
Right.
It's very fucking weird.
But fun fact, the models that are in those games do have rules for you to play in Age of Sigmar. So the fantasy models that you get there, you can use in Age of Sigmar, and they will have rules. Usually they're going to be their own like unit, or they'll have other like maybe there'll be a what am I trying to say? There'll be crap.
Yeah, they have their own unit entry.
Yeah. So, but and the reason I say that is because the model, I will say in general from a model perspective, they can sometimes be pretty cool because they're a little bit more higher quality and individual. It's not like a just generic unit. Like for instance with the orcs, and if you're somebody like me who wants to do like campaign play or do other kinds of things like that with people, these can be really good price savers for getting small factions if you just want to do like small incursions in like a campaign style game.
The one thing I knock about Underworlds is the fact that you can't kit bash it all.
Correct.
Because
the way the models are.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting a call. I'll be right back. Yes, kit bash good.
Okay. Apparently, one of my members of my team is going to take a phone call. No. That's interesting. So everything's different when you have a show. Cool. So I think that's going to cover GW, but a lot of stuff. And then we talked about, like in general, GW has been really adamant about putting stuff out on a pretty big basis. All right, so we're going to swing into some video game stuff. And I know Sean is going to come alive for this. No, I'm kidding. So obviously, big release coming up, very delayed, but coming, is Marvel's Avengers, which is actually be coming to us. So for most folks, September 4th. For others, if they did PS4 pre-release, you actually get the game earlier, a few days earlier than everybody else. I actually bought it both on PC and on PlayStation 4, and I have some reasons why. Then for PS4, you also get Spider-Man early for the game as well. So Sean, do you have any thoughts on this? I wanted to give you the floor before I jump into beta weekend and other stuff.
Well, I haven't participated in the beta at all, and honestly haven't really followed it that much.
Okay.
Like, I know about it, and I've seen all like the trailers, and definitely seems like a fun, interesting game.
Yeah. So, I mean, big thing on the horizon with this game. I mean, part of the delays, obviously COVID is a big part of everybody's delay, right?
It was delayed?
Oh, it was delayed twice, this game.
Oh.
The first time it was delayed was a big problem, which was graphics. So, if a lot of people remember the first time they showed the game, the first trailer, I think everybody unanimously as fans, we looked at the trailer and we're like, holy crap, it looked really bad. Like, it looked like we designed the game like 10 years ago. Like, that's how bad it looked. Like, Thor's hair moved all as one piece. It was like really whacked out, and the character designs looked really weird. So the first delay, they actually retooled the whole game. Yeah, they retooled all the graphics in the game. They redid the models. They redid everybody. And then COVID was another piece of the delay, obviously. But then also, they started to expand, I think, the idea of the game. The game, and to be clear about the game, the idea of the game is that there is going to be a multiplayer aspect. I think that's more of a battle situation. But it is a co-op game. It's a co-op multiplayer game. So, you can play by yourself, of course, but the idea is to grab friends, you jump in, you play the hero you want to play, and that's the other piece. It's an expandable hero universe. So they're planning on releasing more and more characters to this game over time. And similar to the Spider-Man game, it's an original Avengers story. So it is within that. So, and for folks that don't know the story, they've showed it in the trailer so many times. So, spoiler alert: if you don't want to hear this, you probably already did if you watched any trailer for this game. But you can jump away. But the idea of the game is that essentially, the world is celebrating the Avengers. It's Avengers Day, and Tony, as Tony does, created a whole new power source for the helicarrier. Shield's flying airship, and then of course, while they're having the celebration, somebody is trying to essentially steal, or it appears that they're trying to steal that power source. And then what you find out through playing the first little bit is that it's actually all a trick, and they detonate the reactor, causing a cataclysmic event that destroys the entire city and kills lots of people.
Avengers assemble.
Right. And essentially the Avengers are blamed for it. Captain America is missing. And so the Avengers are literally exiled into ruin, and the world does not want the Avengers to be the Avengers. So it's a very cool story. And then, of course, that day, which is being narrated by, for folks that don't know the character, Miss Marvel, which is, Miss Marvel is, she's from the Middle East. She's a young girl who can elongate herself and grow. Very cool character. She basically... I should also mention, when the thing explodes, it causes a lot of people to get superpowers. Because it's an experimental thing.
She's not from the Middle East. She's from Jersey.
No, her original character was from the Middle East.
Nah, man. The new Miss Marvel?
Yeah,
the teenager?
Original character. I'm saying original.
Oh, the original, not the teenage one.
No, not the teenage
Well, to
one.
be fair, Miss Marvel, there's been like 15 Miss Marvels.
Right. I said the original.
Okay.
No, but the teenage one
Sorry.
the teenage one is from Jersey.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, she may be Middle Eastern, but she's from Jersey.
Right. But and she also...
It's all right. That's why I had to jump in there.
And she is Middle Eastern. But the idea is that... what I was saying was... So yeah, they get superpowers. She gets her superpowers from that event as well. So basically, they play with the same source that creates Inhumans, essentially. And then AIM comes to power. There's a lot of cool things that happen. So, very cool game. Again, original story with Avengers. I got to play through the beta. I played the beta weekend. If you want to check out on the channel, I actually have about 4 videos of me playing. Basically, we played through the first couple of missions. I had a lot of fun playing the game. I got to play as the Hulk. I got to play as Miss Marvel. I got to play as Iron Man. It's crazy. It's got, full soup to nuts. It's got ability trees. It's got equipment. It's got crafting. It's got materials. Like, it's a full-on, like, kind of RPG, too. Because there's leveling and skills. Lots of different things to unlock, collectibles. The levels are pretty much open world levels for the most part, or really a sandbox level. So you can go and do side missions in the main and find other stuff. And what I liked about the game too, which was really cool, is that if you play by yourself, can only play as one character.
Can you swap between characters though, or something?
You can't. So that's the cool part. You can play as one character. You can have the computer play as the other companions, so you can have other team members with you. But you need certain people's powers and abilities to get into certain parts of the board. So there are places where you need the Hulk to smash something to get into it to find, like a secret crate or a collectible or. So it really makes it so you and your friends or whoever you're playing with, you're gonna want to play different characters to unlock different things. And so there's a lot of replay value to the game because of that. And also you get to level up all these characters and get different gear and enhance it. So lots of different ways to play. And every character plays very differently. Like the Hulk, obviously just destroys everything. And I love, you literally can, when you punch someone, you can grab the guy you're punching and then use him to beat the other people to death and then throw him. That was amazing.
So Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Yes. You literally, like this guy was shooting with a rocket launcher, and I literally just held the punch button, and I'm like, I've just grabbed you now. I'm going to use you to beat up all of your friends and then throw you off this building. You are dead. Very, very crazy. And then they all have super finishing moves. Hulk just has rage. Tony gets the Hulk Buster. You actually get in the Hulk Buster armor and start destroying everything. Thor just summons tons of lightning. Thor's hammer, coolest thing ever. Because you actually throw it and then you call it back and it hits people on the way back. It's unbelievable. It's insane. It's really, really and like you can pin people with it too. Like you could throw it and hit the guy into stuff.
Yes, because he's not worthy.
It's really, really crazy. And you can throw people into destroyable stuff. And there's just a lot going on in that game. Miss Marvel, she could also grab people with her stretchy arms. She can use her stretchy arms to swing around and grab stuff and climb stuff. Her ultimate is she just gets really big and starts hitting people. Really cool stuff. We know Hank Pym will be in the game. We know Spider-Man will be in the game. They've gone over a lot of characters. But yeah, had a lot of fun. Good weekend. Check out the video. And we'll have more coverage of it. But yeah, I urge anybody who's thinking about it. I don't know if you guys are intrigued by it, but take a look at some of the War Room videos they did, which goes over a lot of parts of the game. But it's a lot of fun, and I think playing with a group of people will be awesome. So, besides that game, really we're waiting into the next year for a lot of the other games to come out. There's not really a big game on the horizon. I can say that for myself, I played a lot of... So I did get the Ghost game that Zach talked about last time we did a show.
Which game was that?
Ghost of Tsushima or something like that?
Yep.
Oh.
And boy, is that game a lot of fun. That game is crazy. It's beautiful, too. It's a beautiful game.
It's so pretty.
But it's very crazy. Like, it is like... It literally is like playing a samurai movie. Like, it's like you're playing a samurai film of you being like the last samurai and killing everybody and saving the world. Like, that's what's happening. Notable things that have happened to me in that game. I hit a man with a sword. He fell backwards into fire and died.
As you should.
Like, he set himself on fire. And then proceeded to run around and set another person on fire.
Yes!
It was really crazy. And then when another guy died and his body fell down, it fell into the fire and it started burning. Like, the level of craziness in that game and realism is nuts. And the missions have been amazing. Like, the last stands I've done where just guys are attacking me and archers, and I'm like shooting guys with arrows and dodging and... Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff, and you have a lot, and as Zach mentioned the last time, there's a lot of great. You change your stance, your clothing plays a big role. You have different stance and skills for fighting. It's very cool. It's very involved, and it's an open world game, which I like also. So that's been pretty cool. But yeah, there's not really much. You guys have anything else on video game that you're looking forward to, or is there a game out there that you're chomping at the bit to come out?
Yeah, I know the next installment of the Assassin's Creed, I think, is supposed to come out in like November, I think. Ooh. Valhalla. So,
that's right.
Vikings now. So, should be interesting.
Hell yeah. I would like to stab people while reading. And, I don't know, for some reason, lose a finger even though it's purely symbolic at this point.
It's true.
Assassin's Creed is one of those things I could go into, but it's not really
purely symbolic at this point. The first one lost his finger by accident, and then everybody else is just like, whoops, even though we improved on the situation and improved on the design, fuck it, just cut off our fingers anyway.
Actually, well, no, they only did that up until the what would be technically game one, which was the King Richard's Crusade. At least by the time of the Renaissance, they no longer chop off their fingers, which is most of the games.
I'm gonna step away for a moment, but keep the Viking talking going. I have to step away for a second. Keep talking about Vikings. Go, Vikings.
Okay.
Do you know what a berserk is?
Assuming it's some sort of berserking unit.
Kind of. No, I mean, not a unit. It's an actual. It was a thing.
Well, yeah.
So Berserks, which got oh my god. You know, what's the word for when something gets turned English in English language?
That's another one of those things. I've seen it 100 times. It's like anglicized.
Yes. But
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, so that it got turned into Berserker. Essentially, they're just dudes who would eat magic mushrooms, get really high, and then be pointed off to go kill people. They're awesome. They also were called shield biters because sometimes you get really high. Well, you start gurning, which is your face. You kind of start getting like lockjaw in a way. So they would bite their shields until their muscles relaxed.
Jeez.
And because they're high as balls, sometimes they would break part of their shields. Which means they get mouthfuls of splinters, which they don't care about because they're high as balls.
Well, yeah.
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 I'm back. Sorry, I had to take a thing of medication for a minute.
Oh, just talking about Berserks.
Nice. All right.
So I have a video game thing.
Yes. What's up? Go.
The trailer for Blood Bowl 3 dropped today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's from Cyanide Games, the company that has been doing the past 2 Blood Bowls. It seems like they're taking the GW models and now animating them instead of doing their own designs. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are a little iffy based on the cinematic trailer that has come out because it does look kind of choppy animation, like they haven't really redid the engine from a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's bad.
And some of the dialogue seems like it might have just been ripped off from the last game, maybe?
Hooray, standards.
So people are like, we want to trust you. We really do.
Oh, boy.
It's hard to screw this up. Just please don't.
Yeah. I don't know. We're going to see. Well, I have played on the channel Blood Bowl Legendary Edition. I hope that... I mean, I for the life of me, I would love it to not suck. The biggest thing I hope that they add, and I don't know if it's alleviated, if it's brought up in the trailer, is I would love for them to put star players in the game, and I would love for them, obviously, to introduce the teams that they have. I don't know.
It is purely cinematic.
Right, so they're obviously it's like a
so
special.
there's no information besides they had some war dancers. They went through some of the different teams and stuff. But
yeah. Well, I mean,
anything you saw was based off a GW model.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see what happens. But that's a good thing to bring up. I didn't realize that dropped. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think there's really any more major things because, you know, there's a lot of in the air because obviously the big thing on the horizon, I think more so is in people's corners, is the whole PS5 and the new Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm waiting diligently for PS4, PS5. And obviously the Miles game, we talked about that already. I get there's some aggravation around that because it's not a full game and all that jazz, but I'm eager to see what that looks like because I think it was good. But like I said, back to Avengers, I think it's a really good start to a game. Will I call it as good as Spider-Man, the Spider-Man game? No, not based off of the beta weekend I played. But also the beta weekend, the one thing I will criticize them with, and I'm sure they had to do this on purpose, it was choppy because you played missions that weren't like together. Because I guess they didn't want to tell you the story because they want you to play the game.
Right.
So it felt like I missed parts of the story or I didn't understand what was happening in parts of it. So, you know, I'm sure when I play the full game next week, it'll be better. But
woo.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's our video game portion. Not much to say, but I did want to talk about it again. If you're interested to know more about Avengers, like I said, the videos are up on my Twitch channel. Check them out. Those are going to stay on Twitch because I don't want to be, you know, copyright striked on YouTube because I'm using somebody else's game. So
I'm promoting them. Please stop it, YouTube. Please stop. No. Bash.
Yes, I know what that's happened, so we'll go there. But so now we're gonna delve into the world of television and movies, specifically. Oh yes, you are seeing what looks like a payphone and a telephone booth. For our younger viewers, these existed.
Oh my God! It's a payphone. I thought they were just legendary.
They were real. There was a time and place where you actually had to have money and to call someone, and you couldn't just give them a number to call you instantly on the moment. You had to go find one of these things and call them.
And there weren't text messages. You had to actually talk to people.
Yeah.
You mean those things weren't just public toilets?
Well, they're also just public toilets.
Oh, this is cool.
I thought John paused for a second because of what I said, not because he got distracted by something else.
Party on, dudes!
Oh, that's really funny.
I just feel like he's not listening to me.
I'm not. So if you go to their website for the movie, so we're gonna talk about Bill and Ted Face the Music, which is gonna stem a whole other conversation. But if you go to their website, you can actually play with the payphone. And you could, which I don't remember the coordinates to travel to. Actually, I think it's just the time. You just
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah, nice.
Party on, dudes.
That's really funny. So you can play with the payphone. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to talk about Bill and Ted Face the Music, which literally happens tomorrow, is that it is the first example of something that is very COVID related and very much, I think, going to be a part of our new pop culture norm, is the idea that they are releasing this on streaming. So you can get access to this movie on streaming. Now, during the pandemic, this is not the first time this has happened. Trolls World Tour did this. Scoob did this. But it just is another example of it happening again. Now, why I think it's a big deal is because Bill and Ted Face the Music, not to say, because it really isn't, a bigger franchise than those other two I mentioned. It's not.
It's an older franchise.
Is it even a franchise? It's one movie.
No,
it's two movies.
It's a trilogy now.
Yeah.
There was a second one?
Yeah, Bogus Adventure.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Excellent Adventure, Bogus Dirty, now there's Face the Music.
But the idea that I'm saying is that it is older, but I do think it was a very anticipated film. Similar to how many people... What is going on?
My cats are being assholes, so I gave them some kibble.
Okay.
Are they like right next to your microphone?
No, apparently it's just picking stuff up now. It's being way too sensitive now.
But anyway, yeah, so it's shit, I lost what I was saying. It's similar. It's similar to like Back to the Future 4, which is something that probably will never happen. But
dear God, no.
But
I can't have Michael J. Fox being his current diseased self. No offense, Michael J. Fox, but that just kills Marty McFly.
But yeah, so the idea is that it. I think it's just very anticipated. So like, this is to me, big deal movie because. It also is a big deal in this respect. I think this is going to be the new norm for movies like Bill and Ted, which are movies that the studios think won't do as well or are marginal, and they may get packaged in this streaming format now. Almost like our modern day equivalent to straight to video, if you came from the 80s with VCRs.
I feel like they kind of already do that, at least like on Netflix.
Yeah, they're
they just
Netflix
don't advertise. You know, like you had the straight to video, and they don't really like advertise it. You just walk into a Blockbuster, like, oh, there's another Little Mermaid or whatever.
Right. But I think it is going to be the norm because, and also the other thing too with them is that this is what we've talked about prior on this channel, which is the idea of a hybrid release, which I think is also going to become more of a norm. You know, because being because I think, for instance, and this is going to stem, I'm sure, a big conversation between all of us, when you think of something like Disney Plus, I'm actually really pissed at Disney Plus for the way that they're doing Mulan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just asinine. Like, I pay
Yeah,
for
it's a $30 movie now, right?
yeah.
Is that right?
Like, I pay for your service to stream. Why do I have to just pay in it? Like, okay, if you wanted to charge me like $15 for the movie,
To rent it
That's-
on the first week.
that's a ticket price. That's a movie ticket price.
I guess their reasoning is that like a family is going to be watching it as opposed to like one person. I mean, it's stupid. I don't agree with it, but
Right. But it's just such a. It's so like I would have rather than just have done this, where they do a simultaneous release, and then people who want to watch digitally. People that want to go into a movie theater and get the coronavirus can go do that. And
can you even go into a movie theater anymore?
Yep.
They will. In
No,
fact,
there are movies being released in theater.
well, right,
Well, yeah.
but I think I could be completely wrong, but if someone were to Google right now, I'm actually pretty sure that tomorrow major movie theaters are opening back up again, and I could be going crazy.
Well, no, that was part of my question. Like, I don't even know, at least in terms of the states that did have shutdowns, like if any movie theaters are even open yet.
I'm pretty sure it's either going to be it's either going to be tomorrow, or it's going to be the beginning of September, because I'm pretty sure.
At the same time as like the gyms and stuff.
I think so, and I'm pretty sure like in our area, that's what's going to happen. Movie theaters will be back up, because I know like a Regal that's very close to where I'm around most of the time. I believe that's next week. They're going to open.
I remember, I think it was like September 1st, at least for gyms.
So
that would be next week.
Which I'm not going to a movie theater. You could.
Nope.
You can fucking no.
Yeah.
And that is why my studio, going back to when it's done, we can all hang out again. I have a giant fucking projector in it now, because I don't want to go to a movie theater. I made one. I'm good with that. I'm gonna get a better sound system. It's gonna be a great movie theater in my home, which I can control and disinfect. So go to hell.
Hey, buddy. That sounds cool. But oh, you finished your rant?
Oh no, it's fine. But I was gonna move on to. But I am very much looking forward to Bill and Ted Face the Music.
So before we go on to Bill and Ted, real quick.
Yes.
Another issue is that I know there are a lot of critics who are not actually going to see the new Mutants movie.
I don't agree with that.
Because Disney has a policy of not releasing digital titles for critics ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to go see the movie, you have to see it in theaters.
Yeah, it's bullshit. That's so stupid.
So
I feel so bad for like the whole New Mutant situation. Like that thing was in development hell for like 5 years. It was just...
Well, and it's terrible because the movie looks good.
Yeah.
It's been through a bunch of rewrites actually. I was reading the AV Club had an article. I think they were quoting from another article because it's the AV Club. Of course, they are quoting from another article.
Sure.
But apparently, the first draft was really fucking weird.
Well,
Storm was a prison guard, like the prison warden, who was torturing the kids.
I'm trying to.
You're like, what?
Well, no, I'm trying to rack my brain for my comic book history. If there was ever a moment where that could be true.
Like Storm, there were times where Storm was a bitch.
Right. So it can. Well, that's what I mean. So it can be historically accurate from a comic book perspective, sort of.
Yeah.
But not in that context.
No, especially when she's supposed to be educating the kids.
Well, right, and then there's also her own past.
She's not Emma Frost. Emma Frost, 30 seconds in, would be Abu Ghrabing these kids.
Well, that and also she tortured children, but yeah. So,
yeah.
like that's that's one of my favorite lines in Astonishing X-Men, when Kitty Pryde comes back and realizes that Emma Frost is like the head of the school now,
Mm-hmm.
and she just goes, you know, you tortured me in a box, and I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, this woman tortured a teenager, and she's really violent. There are 3 moments in that book that are brilliant. That, and then when she's sleeping with Cyclops, because they're banging each other now, and and then Wolverine just comes in and goes, you've dishonored Jean's memory, and then like tries to like literally beat the shit out of him on the front lawn. Like, he just throws him out of the window and starts beating the crap out of him, and I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is nuts. I'm like, this is perfect. But yeah, Joss Whedon wrote that, so that's why it's awesome.
Josh Whedon's recently, in the past 2 years, become kind of problematic.
Yes, but he was doing good things then, so I'm going to prefer to remember him then. I'm not going to remember him now. Oh, also, side rant, completely out of left field, the Snyder cut of Justice League. If everybody wants to go for more therapy about how horrible the world is, watch that.
Like, I'm just not, because
it's so much more depressing than the original movie.
I didn't watch the original movie because it was bad, and I don't want to have to pay more money to watch a movie that I didn't want to watch in the first place.
It's unbelievable. When you watch the scenes from it, the trailer I saw, I'm just sitting there going like, wow, look, it's Wonder Woman. What is she walking through? Oh, a post-apocalyptic world that looks like it's fucked. Oh, Superman. What is he walking through? Oh, a post-apocalyptic world that's fucked. Oh, what did you leave out of the movie? Actually showing Darkseid decimating something. I'm like, oh, great. So, what did you do to and then Cyborg? Oh, what did you show? Oh, when he had legs. And then, like, I'm just like, oh my god, this is so much more depressing. Like, what? It's that kid. Yeah, Snyder's cut was like, you know what? It's not dark enough.
He is Edgelord Snyder.
He also was going through some horrific family stuff at that time.
All right, well, let's talk about Bill and Ted Face the Music. Then we can jump into DC, because I have more about DC, which I actually have positive about DC this week, which I didn't think that was going to happen, but. All right, so what are your feelings about Bill and Ted Face the fucking Music? Face the Music. What do you think?
Yay? I mean, it's Keanu Reeves doing comedies, like intentional comedy again.
Yes.
Not unintentional comedy, which is half of the John Wick movies.
Yes, but they're very good.
Oh no, they're really good.
They're really good.
They're just not meant to be supposed to be as funny as they are.
Oh, not at all. Yes, 100%. I agree with that. Sean, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I agree with Zach. More Keanu Reeves in this world is always appreciated.
Yeah,
he is a immortal vampire being who will never age and will never die, and will watch his sun go out.
Yeah, it's for folks that haven't seen the trailer. Bill and Ted Face the Music. The premise of the movie, again, you don't want to know this. Jump out, and then come back and watch in, let's say, 10 minutes. But the idea, if you're watching this after we were live, but the idea is that Bill and Ted. So it's taking the stance that as we left Bill and Ted in the second movie that Sean doesn't agree exists. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I didn't know it exists.
Didn't know it exists. It is implied in that movie that they have, at this moment, made the music, or were ready to make the music that was going to bring utopia to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what you find out at the beginning of this movie, I'm guessing from the trailer, is that they have not done that. In fact, they are still Bill and Ted. They are playing like bar mitzvahs, and they're like still horrible.
They've essentially just wasted their lives because they're stupid.
They're just still them, but much older. So now they're like, it's very conscious that they are telling you that they are in their like middle-aged life crisis, like kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then what you see in the trailer is that it seems that they get a brilliant plan that they should travel back in time, not forward in time, not back in time, and essentially steal the music from themselves.
Yes.
Or,
They claim it's not plagiarism because
Right.
they're stealing from themselves.
right. And and then what I would say the trailer implies is that when they either successfully do that or do whatever, they cause multiverses or multiple timelines to happen where now Bill and Ted are like, in prison. They're
Wearing kind of shitty muscle suits.
Yeah, like it gets really wacky. And I think there's a moment where, and I don't know if it's them bringing back the robots, the robot versions of them from the second movie, or if it's just futuristic crazy robots, but it seems like there are futuristic crazy robot versions of them. I don't know. It's all kinds of shit. The cool part of the trailer that I liked was that they brought Death back. So they do see Death, which Death was a big character in the second one.
I like how Sean just was like, "What?" for a second.
Yeah.
Honestly, I saw the trailer and said, "Why is Voldemort in this?" I was confused.
Yeah. So Death.
Yeah, the second movie, they die and go to hell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna the seventh seal this,"
Yeah.
which is we're gonna play a bunch of games with Death, but they play Twister and Battleship and shit, and Death keeps losing.
And they play electronic football with him. They keep winning, and he's like best 2 out of 3, best 5 out of 7, and they just get like disgusted, and it's great. It's
because he just won't accept that he lost. So
it's unbelievable.
And then eventually he becomes their kind of roadie.
He becomes part of the band.
Yeah, but he still carries all their shit around.
He plays a cello, like he
plays a cello that he makes out of his scythe.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, it's. I don't want to ruin. I feel like we just did because we said most of the movie, but yeah, then when they first meet Death,
the movie's almost 30 years old. It's fine.
No, I know, but when they meet Death, I love how they literally. So Death goes, "I have to take you now," and he's like, "Bill, we totally have to get away from Death." And then he goes, "What's up, Death?" and then they're talking to him, and I forget how they lead into it, but then they literally trick him into something, and then they literally grab his genitals, and they Melvin Death, as it's called, and they're like, "Dude, did we just Melvin Death?" That movie, talk about a sequel. The sequel was a lot. I mean, they're both brilliant movies, but I thought the sequel was better than the original.
It was. I'm gonna say they're on par.
Yeah, you're gonna say par? I thought it was a little bit better. I thought a little bit.
The ending was a little weird.
Oh, but I like the ending.
By the whole back and forth time travel paradox thing, it was just slightly too cute.
Oh, okay, all right, but they were pretty good because
they're both really fun movies.
Well, because the second movie deals with, like we said, Sean, they die, so it's really about them dealing with death and them being ghosts and hell and heaven. It's them going there versus time travel, which is but it's still about time travel. That's what's unique
Bonkers.
about the movie, is that it's still about time travel, but it really is about the afterlife too.
Yeah, essentially a gym teacher from the future hates their music.
Yeah.
So he comes back to try and builds robots, versions of them. Their debut.
Yeah.
So the robots kill them, they go to hell, they hang out with Death and beat him at a bunch of board games.
They only go to hell because they get exercise. So what happens is...
Oh yeah, they're ghosts for a minute.
They're ghosts for a minute, and that's one of the best. That's even funnier than most of it, because they go to the police station. You remember the father, right? You remember? Yep. They go to the police station as ghosts, and they what ends up happening is they possess the dad. So Keanu Reeves jumps into his dad's body and possesses him, and then the other guy jumps into another cop, and he goes "They totally killed us." and it's the actor that plays his father doing a Keanu Reeves impersonation, essentially, because he's got to act
as
like
a stoner.
as a star. It was so funny. He totally killed us. And there's totally robot us's, and they're gonna hurt the princesses. And he's saying this to a room of cops.
Yeah, because they're in a
Like a
meet, like
briefing.
it's giving a briefing, and it's just like,
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like,
and then they're like, "Oh, dude, we need other people to see us." So they go to
they go to
a
the mother.
spiritualist.
No, the mother.
Oh yeah, they go to
No, that's Bill. That's
yeah,
Bill's
the stepmother.
mom.
I think she's at she's at Medium.
No, she has a group. So she has a group that comes over her house, and they actually do seances. But because it was a thing. It was just in the '80s, people used to do things like that. She has her friends come over, and they go to the house, and they're like, well, we have to. Somebody had so the cop they did work out. So they're like, well, we have to get her attention, and then she starts doing the seance, and they go they just start acting as and Keanu Reeves is like, Bill is totally dead, and and then and she gets freaked out, and then she gets she pulls out a book to exorcise them and starts reading from it, and they get exorcised and sent to hell.
Yeah, and then they're
Oh my god! And then
out death.
Well, they actually go through the they go through the nine
they go through
levels of hell.
Yeah, they go through the levels of hell, and then they kind of go.
Yeah,
they Dante, essentially. They pull a Dante where they go through purgatory, and then they also go through heaven.
Yeah.
And
it's really funny. It's a really funny movie.
When death, just kind of hey God, sorry, haven't talked in a while.
Yeah. No, it's all of it is just there are so many good moments in it, and it's just really really funny. But yeah, when they meet the devil, that's even funny. You're like the devil. Because it's so brilliant. It's just they're brilliant movies. Yeah, you gotta, Sean, if you get a moment, it's definitely worth the watch. It's like I said, I think it's a little bit better than the first one, but yeah, it's not by any means less than the first movie. So I'm intrigued to see what this other realm happens and see what happens with this. Now, in addition to this, other notable things for this week, I know for myself, Lucifer hit Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So new season Lucifer, which, by the way, talk about some other bonker shit. You want to watch a show that you go, what the heck? Because I think it's their last season, so all bets are off, folks. Do whatever you want. They again don't want to ruin the season. Well, they showed it in the trailer, but I really like the way they're doing. So they really turn one thing on its heel with the whole celestial stuff. With I like that they made Michael a bad guy, which is intriguing, and they also made him. He is Lucifer's twin brother, which that actually is in the Bible too.
Mm-hmm.
So that is pretty funny. So the actor who plays Lucifer actually has to play Michael also, and Michael doesn't have a British accent, but Lucifer does. Which I find very funny and amusing.
It is.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. But that came this week. What else is coming out? What other things on the horizon for movies? We talked about Mulan already. You know, Mulan's going to be at Disney Plus. I think that's also September 4th.
Let's see. Yeah, so New Mutants is this week.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted is this week. It's really weird seeing movies coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Last weekend, I have talked about this man before, Joe Bob, the movie guy from Shudder.
Oh, okay.
He did a double feature, Pajama Party.
Okay.
So the first movie was Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Oh my god.
Yes. It is the worst of the two Slumber Party Massacres. It is the lesser one.
If there could be.
It is completely insane. And also, I learned that the first one is a feminist think piece.
Oh.
It was made by... No, it's made by a feminist, and she did a bunch of stuff. And the director worked for Roger Corman.
Oh.
And so what she did... And so she's like, okay, basically, if you work in this company for a bit, you get to direct a scenes. And then if he likes it, you get a movie.
Uh-huh.
So he literally ripped off a stack, gave it to her, and he's like, no, the name's too complex. It's now Slumber Party Massacre. She filmed 3 scenes of it. He watched them, and she's like, cool, can I get a real movie now? And he said, how much did you spend on these 3 scenes? And she goes, $1,000?
Oh, Jesus.
He looked at her, smiled, and said, you're going to go far in this industry?
Oh, boy.
And then he said, make the rest of the movie. She apparently gave up a job editing E.T. to make Slumber Party Massacre, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that was cool. And the second movie was Victor Crowley, which is a sequel of the Hatchet movies, which are basically Cajun Bayou Jasons from Friday the 13th.
Oh, wow.
And he had most of the cast on, including Brian Pugh from Impractical Jokers.
That's crazy.
Everybody was really disappointed because apparently they cut out a mangled penis and boobs for the showing.
That's insane.
And everybody's like, but we're on a streaming channel. Why would they do this? And he's like, I don't honestly know.
All right.
Both movies were okay. They were a lot better because I was drunk.
There we go. What? Ending it on a different note, and also segueing into the last thing I wanted to talk about. So, should also mention the Batman trailer released this week. So we got our first big look at the movie, which I'm not surprised I'm going to say this, but it actually looks good.
Robert Pattinson is a really good actor.
It actually looks good. I think it's going to be set in its own universe, though. I still don't think it's going to be connected in any way to the Things. Because it wouldn't make sense if it was connected to the Things.
It would be very weird if it was connected to the Things.
But I was pretty, I was pretty impressed with it. I think it's a very interesting take. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble if you haven't seen the trailer, but I hope everybody knows that it's Hush that they're talking about. Because that's the bad guy.
No.
It is. It's not Riddler. It is Riddler, but Hush is there because there's a serial killer. That's Hush.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure, because if you look at the trailer and you look at, there's a guy with bandages.
Who else could it be, man?
That's Hush. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's you're either gonna get the beginning of Hush in that movie, or it's gonna be Hush and the Riddler, because the Riddler is definitely in the movie too, and that would make sense. The two of them might be working together. But I guess the brutality of Batman in that movie is insane. Like, it's really, really crazy. And then they also nod to the Joker. There's a lot going on in that trailer. Because there's 100% those are Joker gang guys. So there's like a lot of stuff going on in that trailer. Like I think this movie's gonna have like a lot of him taking down a lot of bad guys to set up a fabric of stuff that can move forward with this. So I think this is gonna be.
Are we getting back to like 80s Batman where he was essentially just a psychotic mass mangler?
Well, this is a pretty brutal Batman.
Yeah, that's why I'm positing the question.
Yeah.
Are we going back to 80s Batman where he just breaks everything and everyone?
I think so. But there's also a lot of like there's some intriguing stuff in this. So I think that like I said, this is the first time I watched a DC trailer and I didn't like immediately go,
It's shit.
we're totally off base. But see, this is also the thing. It's Batman. This is where you can be this dark. He has villains that are that dark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Joker became a diplomat and for Iran and then bombed Iran.
Right.
You can get that weird and dark.
So, I think it's in their wheelhouse. So I very much, that looks pretty cool. I don't think we're ever going to see the Wonder Woman movie. It's going to blow up and be burned. I don't know what's happening. It's never going to come out. The Black Widow movie, never going to come out.
Nope.
It was amazing. I wanted to see it. It's not coming.
Probably not.
It's so on Disney's side of things, I really have to say that I'm very disappointed with, and DC too. Like, I get it, everybody wants to make money, but just release the shit. Like, you're not doing any favors to yourself by waiting. Like again, for the Batman trailer, it's like in 2021.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
to be fair, we're already in September.
Yeah.
Well, right, but
we only have a few months left of 2020.
Right, but it's not going to be 2021. Meaning,
no, yeah, it's going to be pushed back. Yeah.
It's going to be pushed back. So just release the accept that the world has changed and release your crap.
I guess the only problems is that I know AMC is incredibly against anything streaming.
Well, yeah, they threw a shit fit when Trolls was released on streaming.
Yeah, and then they're essentially just threatening that if anybody releases a movie just pure streaming, any big box people,
well, that's why
they will never show one of their movies again.
Well, right.
I mean, that's what they did towards Universal for Trolls 2.
For a minute, and then they
threatened to, yeah.
And then, but that's an unrealistic threat.
Yeah.
Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's everybody freaking out because they don't know how they're going to survive this pandemic. That's what it comes down to.
It's like a supermarket going like, we're not going to sell food anymore. Fuck off. Like,
well, it'd be more like them saying we're not going to sell anything from this distributor, but that distributor gives them like a third of their product.
Right.
So.
But that's my point. Like, you can't walk up to Disney or walk up to Universal or walk up to, like, you can't walk up to Disney and be like, you can't work. Like, that's why it's a stupid threat.
As a national chain, yeah, I admit it doesn't work. As they were...
What are you going to show?
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. I was saying if they were something more art housey, then sure.
Oh, yeah.
But as a national chain, they have to work with the people who are A, have a lot more money than them, and B, supply your product.
Yeah. Like, it's just so stupid. It's like when Spider-Man, when there was that week where everybody thought that Marvel wouldn't get Spider-Man back.
Because copyright bullshit.
No, meaning that Sony said, we have great plans, we don't want to work with Marvel, they didn't help make
copyright copyright bullshit. They didn't want to give the copyright.
But it was stupid. It was
no, it's incredibly stupid.
Like, I sat there and went, so Sony really... I said, what? It's not a threat. That's the stupidest threat I ever heard in my life. If Sony tried to release a movie without it being connected to Marvel, good fucking luck. Like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I'm like sitting there going, the people were flipping out, they were crying. I'm like, what the hell are you crying about? I said, by next week, everybody's going to be fine. Because there's no way. I said, if Sony, whoever at Sony thought that was, whoever at a meeting said, let's try this, first of all, that person's fired. because that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because the minute they said that, like, talk about backlash. Like, your movie was dead. Any idea you had on the drawing board of making a movie was dead before you even made it. So, get your ass out of your head. It's like, I was like, that's stupid. So it's the same thing. It's like, when I saw them do that, and they're like, we're going to tell Universal we won't show any of their movies, I was like, how? How are you going to do that? I'm like, no. Like, that's...
Well,
what are you going to show? Flies fuck?
No, yes.
Like
superimposed?
Like, what? Like, what are you gonna make movies like in your backyard and show them in your theater? Like, what? Who the hell is gonna care about what you have?
That actually does remind me of a movie that just came out.
Right, but that's...
it's on Shudder. Hold on, it's on Shudder, and they use Zoom.
Fuck Zoom.
Whatever.
But what they did is, it's a horror movie, and it's less than an hour. It's something like 45 minutes, 50 minutes long.
So pretty much the social network thing with the Harold and Kumar guy, but Zoom instead of Facebook. Is that what they did?
Kind of, except better, and actually it's used in a real good way. But the fun part about the time constraint was that's the amount of time you're allowed on Zoom in a call without paying Zoom.
Oh my god. All right.
But yeah, so they're just like, literally, this person made the movie in like a month, and it's well made. The person knew what they're doing, and they didn't go for a 2-hour long epic. They're like, cool, we're going to go for like a 50-minute movie.
No, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that a non-major picture house movie can't be successful, because that's absolutely untrue. You can have a successful movie if it's a good script, and like you said, it's good, it's produced well. Yeah, absolutely. But the reality is that a movie theater is not going to turn away, like Sean said, its biggest, like, the biggest people that bring the movies to them. Like, it's just stupid. So, to Sean's point, like, everybody's got... The way you figure out is exactly what they're doing. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Just do a simultaneous release and call it a fucking day and leave it alone. Like, because regardless of how the world pans out, I don't think people want to... After this happened, and the amount of social fear and change that has happened because of all of this, I don't see how movie theaters are going to function the same way or well after this. Like,
yeah.
Period. And most movie theaters can't survive a year, let alone like think about it this way: 2 summers worth of movies have been killed, because next summer they're not going to do well either.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
they're fucked.
I think we're gonna have a dearth of entertainment coming up, because nobody's been filming shit for months.
Well, right. That's why everything's been on hiatus. So and so many pauses.
No, but I mean, new stuff isn't going to be coming out anytime soon.
Right.
Oh, no, absolutely. So, you're right.
But I also mean that for TV.
Yeah. No. Well, TV...
So we're going to get...
You're already starting to see all the stupid COVID-related shit, all this reality TV, and, like, everything's going to be, living in this world. So.
Yeah, but you can't live off of celebrities watching
TV. No,
that is... I hate how that's a fucking thing.
Sucks. Yeah.
Well, and this is why, self-plug coming, this is why I do the videos I do. This is why I want to create the content I want to create, and I want to create more dynamic, interesting content for the folks that watch this stuff with us, because you're going to need something. And our 2 voices and my mug, and hopefully eventually these 2 guys' mugs when you can see them. That's it. Like, there's got to be innovation of content, and there's going to have to be. And I think this platform, I think things like Twitch, I think things like YouTube, I think the streaming platform or the online platform is going to innovate and change in a major way.
I am just waiting for when the people I can call normies don't have anything new on TV. And I want to see the hissy fits and the societal collapse that happened.
Well, it's true. I mean, but that's why this relates back to the argument I make, and it's going to take us into the very final point, and then we're gonna call it a night. But the idea is that that's why I say just release your content. Like, you're only hurting yourself by not releasing the content. Because holding content, and to Zach's point, and not producing new content with the hopes that I'm going to hold the content and you know, the magical cure is going to happen and then I'm going to be able to release my content is a very bad, I think, model and way to look at it versus you know, versus other platforms and things that can continue to work. Now, another thing I think is going to be a true test to this, and I think it's going to be coming out of this, I think you're going to see a resurgence of animated films. I think you're going to start to see a very big renaissance of animated films during this crisis. And animated
that actually
TV.
reminds me of something. An anime that I have been watching, which has finally gotten a second season after a couple of years. It's called Ray Zero, regarding Zero. It's the abbreviation of that. I don't know why it's stupid. Anyway, after a certain point, all the episodes now are being animated from the animators' houses.
Well, right, because you can make an animated film in COVID.
Yeah, so they... but it's interesting that after this cutoff date, well, the animators are doing a really good job from their houses, so you can't really tell a difference. But it's interesting to keep that in mind, that from this essentially episode cutoff date, this is all from people's houses. It's not from an office.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I think is going to start to happen. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to a buddy of mine, which I'm hoping I'll get involved in this project, but he's thinking of doing a whole movie in stop motion animation with action figures.
Jesus Christ, does he have 4 years?
Well, or not stop motion. I don't know the whole idea, and I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk further about that idea other than that. But it just showed me, it's just a very innovative idea, and the sense of what I meant is that I think you're going to see some very different dynamic content. And I think that's also why we've never talked about it, but there's a resurgence of a lot of stuff. Like, for instance, Animaniacs is coming back. All these shows are going to come back on Hulu and streaming services, or Amazon for Animaniacs. But so I like I said, I think you're going to see some dynamically crazy stuff, and even DC is pumped up and bumped up their animated films. Like they just released Constantine: City of Demons. Holy shit!
Ah, yes, Constantine. Because that's how you say it. That's in the goddamn comics. Constantine rhymes with fine. It's in Hellblazer. DC, why did you screw it up? Anyway.
Tell us how you really feel, Zach.
But I'm just saying, like
it's a goddamn pronunciation guide in the goddamn comic.
But if you want to talk about a movie that's like way adult but
the animated movies coming from Korea that DC commissioned, excellent series. I mean, they just did also the thing after that was Apocalypse War.
Yeah.
Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and that has scarred people because of how good it is and how bad it treats its characters, but in a good story way.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, so you're seeing a lot of resurgence and pump up of that. So absolutely. And then we're gonna end going on that related note of DC. We're gonna end with some new comic book stuff. I wanted to spotlight one comic in particular because it was getting a lot of great reviews, which is Batman 3 Jokers reveals Jason Todd's darkest secret. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to show the rest of this article. But you can see what that looks like. But yeah, so if you're not familiar, I'm going to hold it up. But DC started doing this thing called the Black Label, which is their mature book series. So most of these have been graphic novels or larger format Usually,
It's where you can see Batman's penis before they reprinted that comic.
What?
so Batman Damned, which is what it was.
Yeah, Batman Damned, yeah.
Which, by the way, I do have one of the ones where you see his penis.
Hell yeah!
Because I bought it when it came out not because of the penis, but because I heard how crazy it was because you could see his penis. But the idea, and I wanted to collect it because I knew they were going to change it.
Yep.
But yeah, so normally they're usually 3-part books.
Sean is still like asking about the penis in his head. I know it.
I don't know why that's a selling point. I'm sorry. Like,
it wasn't a selling point. It was just an art point that people immediately latched onto that they could see Bruce Wayne's penis.
okay.
It's not like full dong. It's not, supposed to be the focal point of the shot.
It's not the full
Of course
dark.
it is.
It's not the full dark penis. It's only part of the penis.
Yeah, it's shadowed penis, but it's definitely penis. It's not bulged from a comic, from like the special underwear they wear.
I get it.
Always making the airwaves more classy every day. Zach is. So
I just speak the funny.
but anyway, so yeah, it's got really great reviews. Pretty intense story. I haven't read all of it. I read like the first 10 pages. I obviously won't spoil it. But it's pretty intense. It's everybody basically remembering how the Joker hurt them. It's pretty crazy. And I'm intrigued to finish the rest and see how this unfolds. Would I say this has gotten a lot of this has got a lot of attention. It's gotten a lot of attention in a lot of circles. And again, you have Jeff Johns, Jason Fabok, Bran Anderson, and it's for I was gonna say, isn't it Jeffrey Johns? It's like his first forte in things in a minute, because Jeffrey Johns hasn't been doing I think so.
Yes, is that Black Batman?
Wait,
The Black Batman coming out? Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No, hold on, wait. I'm talking about this book. Before you start talking about
my
the
mistake.
book, I'm telling you who's on this book, which was Jeffrey Johns. I think it's Jason. He has it. I know one of the folks on this book. They haven't been doing stuff in a while, and it's like a big giant home run for him, because it just shows how you could be out of the game for a little bit, but just come really in swinging. Yeah, no, it's Jeffrey Johns. That's who it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because Jeffrey Johns is the writer on this. Yep. But Jason's art is amazing in this book. It's just it's so hyper detailed, and it's just so you just get really immersed in it, and it really puts you in the mood and the setting, and it's unbelievable. But yeah, so really getting some good reviews. And I have to say, for DC, that's a good thing, because in general the Black Label stuff
has been meh.
It's been in between. Yeah, it hasn't been all like I know the Superman thing they did. I didn't really like that. I didn't read the Wonder Woman one. I heard good things about the other Joker series that they did. They did a Harley series. They started off with Damned, which I know we made a lot of jokes about Bat Penis, but the book itself was a good story.
They also did White Knight.
They did White Knight, which White Knight was good. White Knight was okay. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't great.
Yeah,
it was passable. So
the Black Label stuff has been like, and I contribute that, if you remember from a while ago, Marvel Knights, which was Marvel's take on doing the same thing. I think that it didn't have the same caliber in a lot of the stories, but this is a home run. So I wanted to spotlight it. I'm intrigued and looking to read it. I'm curious to know what you guys think in the comments, if you've gotten a chance to read it. As far as comic books go, do you guys have anything else to contribute on next? This is going to be our last point. I know we went way longer than I wanted to, but I knew that was going to happen, because we always do.
Sean, do you have anything?
Do you have any comics or?
No.
I sort of glazed over RPGs, but I know for Dungeons and Dragons, the last magic realm,
the Theros
realm book.
I will not be buying it.
Ooh.
I do not buy anything D&D related from Wizards, actually. Not because I want to pirate it, it's just I don't agree with the protection of sexual predators that the lead developer has done.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a whole thing I can get into, but I won't at the moment.
Okay.
But it's easy to find. Anyway, on comics. Yes, there might be a Black Batman in comics soon.
Yes, that I know about.
Yes, and that'll be cool. Both because it'll give an interesting new twist on... I don't mean interesting as in just being black in comics is interesting.
Oh, no.
No, I just mean it'll be interesting to see a different perspective of Batman. But,
So you said you liked comics. No.
And maybe it won't just be a rich dude beating up the mentally ill people in Gotham.
There you go. And I can say the only comic book I've really delved into, I actually been reading Razzle by Jeff.
Ooh. What's that?
So Razzle, it's by Jeff Smith. And Razzle is a comic about a thief that steals famous paintings by jumping into other dimensions, because he has the power to do that. So he jumps into alternative dimensions and steals an alternative version of a masterpiece.
I approve.
Yeah, it's a very cool comic. They've done it. It was single issues when it first came out. It's in black and white. You can get volume 1, 2, and 3 in a larger format. So it's actually, that's what I really like about it. It's in a like
omnibus.
No. Meaning it's in like a half-size print. So instead of being an 11/17 like large Treasury edition print of the book, it's in that like half print. So you get much bigger panels. You get you can really see the depth of the art. So very, very cool. But yeah, Razzled, and yeah, he uses this, and it's pretty. It's a very adult book. So I should also preface that, like,
that actually reminds me a little bit about anime on Netflix that just came out. It's called The Great Pretender, and it is about con people screwing over awful people.
Okay.
And they released half the show so far. The other 12 episodes will be coming out at some point.
Yeah, same as Lucifer. They did the same thing. They only released half the season.
Yeah, but one of the cons they pull is originally this guy was like, oh, I'll sell this like dirty little painting on this wall to help out these people I like.
Right.
Sells it for a decent chunk of money. Turns out it's like a lost masterpiece of some dude.
Oh, I got you.
And they need to essentially steal it back.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, this starts off. He uses pretty much a jetpack apparatus. When he slips, as he calls it, into other dimensions, it physically hurts him, and physically causes him lots of pain to get back. And then when he comes back, he goes and sleeps with the hooker. So,
yay!
A lady of the night, or a lady that works. And
is this related to Frank Miller at all?
No.
Because he loves his hookers.
And it's pretty funny because he brings the hooker the painting as payment, but it has a bullet hole in it because someone actually followed him into the other dimension, which is what I'm in. That's the part I'm in right now. So apparently there are agents, I think, who patrol the multiverse that are after him. So it's a very cool book. Really, really cool.
Yeah, actually, stolen art is one of the largest parts of the black market in this world.
Yeah, so
because it's huge assets that get lost, quote unquote. And counterfeits are really popular. If you want more information about that, go look it up.
Please don't commit crimes.
I mean, it's only a crime if you get caught, right?
Please don't commit crimes. If you're a
Sean,
child,
what do you say about this?
if you're a child watching this, please do not commit crimes. Just,
If you're a child, can we just say we should be a minimum age 13?
well, I do say that my channel is for mature audiences, but people can lie when they sign up for Twitch.
Hmm.
People lie?
Yeah.
Wait, on
The
Twitch?
internet? No way.
Whoa.
All right. Well, on that note of kids, go look up illegal things. If you don't, I like how it's the Homer Simpson logic of crime. If I don't see it, it's not illegal. When he's just driving through red lights and closing his and putting his hand
Yep.
over his eyes. Anyway, on that note, this has been the State of Geek. I hope you guys enjoyed us babbling and rambling and ranting and threatening at some occasions. How we were
Did
both.
we threaten?
Yeah, we did. We
When
threatened.
did we threaten?
I think you threatened GW. Pretty sure you threatened a few other people.
I mean, I didn't threaten GW. It was just I streamed at them and said naughty words at them.
Sure. So yeah, if you enjoy this brand of insanity, comedy, and mostly us probably a little bit tired because we always do these really late, especially now, come back again. Next week, I think we're going to play, I think I'm DMing, and I think we're going to go
Yes,
back
you
to
are.
Toontown. Yeah, we're going to go back to True Crimes Toontown, which is the new name of that campaign. And we will see what our wonderful players are up to as they try to save one of their fellow comrades from being tortured by a cat with a mental problem or several mental problems.
So all cats.
Yeah. So if you want to see more about that, which funny enough, I just got the book.
You got the book?
No, I got the book that is the book that Who Framed Roger Rabbit is actually based on, which I have to start reading. Unfortunately, I got the second book in the series, so I now have to go buy the first one because it fucked up. But I did get Who Plugged Roger Rabbit. And so, if you're not familiar, it's a zany mystery series, which at this point you actually have to pay. You have to pay the. I think it's the author of the book to print it for you because it's print on demand. Because that many are not being sold. But yes, I have to go. I have to get Who Censored Roger Rabbit, which is the actual first book. So yeah, but I will be reading that, which will help with our campaign because I've actually created the campaign more based on the actual Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is much more adult. But anyway, so.
Well, is it more adult than Jessica Rabbit?
Everything is more adult. It's
Jessica.
No, well, yeah, that's why Jessica is the way he is, and that's why Baby Herman is the way he is, because it's supposed to be a lot more adult story. But anyway, and I do like. I will say I read the first page of the book. It's very funny because the author writes in the voice of Eddie Valiant, and he writes letters from Eddie Valiant about the book, which is pretty funny. So there's a lot of like, it's got a very so far what I read part of it, it's very much like Terry Pratchett. It's got a very Terry Pratchett feel to it, but it's a mystery. But it's in that same vein, and yeah, it's just pretty funny. But anyway, so we'll be back doing that. If you guys like this, please think about following the channel if you haven't already done so. As we said earlier in the video, also consider going over to YouTube and checking out the Modern Geek Gaming channel. As I said, if you follow this and take a look at the videos that are here, this will get you set up because we will have some original content going there. I am, like I said, really pushing forward so that Zach, Sean, myself, and maybe others can all be in the same room and we can play something, because I know we've all been responsible, but obviously we will be responsible if we do something physical in one space. We'll always be cautious and be healthy and such.
Hey, also subscribing gives me more chances to rant at things.
And
everybody
true.
loves to hear me rant.
That's true. Yeah, and the support, in this time when it is COVID, and I understand that monetary support can be hard, just by being a subscriber on YouTube, following the Twitch channel, sharing that out to others is a great way to do that. And then if you are interested in the geeky things we talked about, specifically comics, specifically all that stuff, there's some links below. You can check out my website, my art, the stuff that I do as a commissioned painter, model building, and all such. Check out those things. Check out my Patreon. I'm actually doing a limited time right now. For $8 a month, you get access to everything versus the normal $10 a month. There are limited spaces for that to happen. And you get, what's pretty cool about it is every month I'll be giving you an original episode or strip of one of the many stories. I call it Funny Papers. And there's a lot of cool stories. It's all original content, original characters. So if you want to support that way monetarily, you can also just, for $1 a month, support me as an artist. All that money goes back into the channel. It goes back to equipment. It goes back into all the things I need to keep producing and to innovate and produce different things, and eventually merchandise and such. So if I can get that support from you guys, and if the support's even greater than that at some point, I'll do this full time, which would be amazing.
Yay!
But I can only do that with your help. So again, thank you all. I'm going to say goodbye as your host, Matt Mario, also Modern Geek.
Sean, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, has anybody else got any other plugs? This is the time.
Nope.
Go listen to Lions Led by Donkeys. It's a great podcast.
Right.
The guy who runs it recently moved to Hawaii and is now living out of a shack.
Okay.
And
So he needs help too.
yeah, he does.
I hate to say it that I hate to say it that plainly, but
Yeah, no, he admits he needs help.
although
But,
I
yeah,
look like I'm living in a shack, this is just wood paneling behind me. But yes, it's
Yes.
It's a
However,
house.
all of the money he gets from Patreon actually goes to charity.
Yes, I would very much love to be in that same boat, but I have to get money first to pay for the things, and then I can give it to charity. I promise.
Yeah, the VA gives him money.
No, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
He lives in a shack, but he gets VA money.
No,
So,
absolutely.
like $5 a month.
Well, and that is the truth. No, but it is the truth, right? And that's what when I say to you guys, even for myself with Patreon, it all goes back into the channel. I'm not looking to ask for that money, as that person is not asking for that money for profit or personal gain. I want to give back to other people by giving good content. So I think you should support that gentleman as well. But again, I know that's hard for everybody. It's hard to support anybody right now because everybody's got some crazy situations.
He also does put out merchandise.
Oh, cool.
And my favorite piece of merchandise that recently came out of an episode is a t-shirt that has the Imperial Buttlaler Union symbol on it.
That's pretty funny.
That's because of Shogunite Japan.
Yep.
That actually had people ladle other people's buttholes. And then the podcast stopped for 10 minutes as they were all laughing.
Well, absolutely. Please check that out. Support. That's sorry. Weird way to end this. All right. Well, on that note, I think it's time for Zach to say goodbye.
Bye!
Sean to say goodbye.
So long.
And again, thank you guys. As always, please stay safe. Please wash your hands. And as we said in this, although we're having a lot of fun and rant and rave, respect all the folks that live on this planet, because if we don't all work together, we're never getting out of this. So,
Amen.
yeah, respect everybody that's out there, because everybody's life has got a different story, and everybody's in a different place. And it's not until you talk to somebody and get to know them that you know what place they're in. So never make judgments. All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you very, very soon.